Two highly trained operatives become close after being sent to protect opposite sides of a mysterious gorge. When an evil emerges, they must work together to survive what lies within. The movie opens with a woman named Dra waking up inside a cave-like shelter. She marks a number on a page before starting her morning routine, brushing her teeth. Suddenly, she hears something and lifts the cover to see a plane landing. A man steps out but is immediately shot dead by Dra, revealing her as a highly skilled sniper who eliminates a Russian oligarch from an impossible distance. The scene then shifts to another expert sniper, Levi, who wakes up from a nightmare. Restless, he drives to a beach and stays there until morning. Later, he writes in his diary, visibly distressed. It is revealed that Levi was once a Marine and is now a private contractor. He is summoned to Camp Pendleton, where he is briefed about his next mission in vague terms. His client, Bartholomew, is keen on recruiting Levi back into service, but PTSD and mental strain weigh heavily on him, with sleepless nights taking their toll. Meanwhile, Dra visits a graveyard carrying 2 bottles of beer. She greets an old man playing music, her father. They sit by her mother's grave, indicating a close bond. However, her father shocks her by revealing his plan to take his own life on February 14th. Like Dra, he is also a sniper, and informs her about a new job, standing guard at a mysterious gorge for a private organization. Levi is airlifted, unconscious, and drugged. When he finally regains awareness, he finds himself mid-flight, quickly strapping on his parachute before jumping from the plane. He lands in a breathtaking valley, its beauty contrasting with an unsettling sense of isolation. As he takes in his surroundings, he is approached by J.D. Drake, a hardened Royal Marine commando and the current occupant of the West Tower, whom Levi is set to replace. Drake gives him a tour, explaining the tower's setup. The West Tower is a self-sufficient observation post, equipped with solar panels, a rainwater harvesting system, and a small garden. The soldiers stationed here must endure a year-long deployment in total isolation, maintaining constant vigilance. Communication with the East Tower, located across the gorge, is strictly forbidden. Adding to the isolation, landmines and tactical barriers make movement between the towers nearly impossible. Levi's duties include patrolling the rim, maintaining the flank guns stationed every 600 meters, inspecting containment fences, monitoring suspended mines, and ensuring the cloaking satellite transmitters remain operational. These devices keep the gorge hidden from aerial detection. A well-stocked armory supplies weapons and ammunition, and a mandatory radio check occurs every 30 days. However, the real danger lies in the sirens. If they sound, it means the gorge has been breached, triggering a fail-safe protocol known as Stray Dog. When Levi asks about it, Drake admits he has no idea what it truly entails, only that it's a last resort. As they talk, an eerie scream echoes from the gorge. Levi tenses, but Drake dismisses it, referring to the source as the Hollow Men. No one knows what they are, no one has ever seen them. Soon after, JD prepares to leave, his year-long duty finally over. A helicopter arrives, lowering a ladder for him. As JD climbs aboard, the man inside coldly confirms his identity, thanks him for his service, then shoots him point blank. His body tumbles into the abyss below. Meanwhile, both Levi and Dra settle into their respective posts. Curiosity gets the better of Levi, and he spies on Dra through his binoculars, only to realize she is aware of his watchful gaze. As November approaches, on her birthday, Dra decides to break the silence. She fires a shot into the air, capturing Levi's attention. Under the moonlight, they communicate by writing messages on notepads and exchanging thoughts. Levi is hesitant, knowing contact is forbidden, but Dra doesn't care. It's her birthday. Their bond strengthens as they share a toast, and Dra plays a jazz record at full blast. Despite their circumstances, both have found ways to make their solitude bearable. Levi, stationed in the West Tower, has a collection of poetry books and a makeshift still-to-brew vodka from potatoes, while Dra has a wine cellar stocked with bottles. Their flirtation escalates as they test their sniping skills, shooting at each other's beverage containers for fun. However, this reckless game draws unwanted attention. From the depths of the gorge, monstrous humanoid creatures with plant-like outgrowths and zombie-like movements begin to climb the walls. They trigger landmines and come under fire from the automated guns positioned along the rim. As chaos unfolds, both Dra and Levi are forced to fire at the walls of their respective towers to keep the creatures from overwhelming them. As dawn breaks, the attack subsides. Dra suffers a minor injury from one of the creatures that managed to climb up her tower, but she shoots it down in time. This harrowing experience brings her and Levi closer. Determined to strengthen their defenses, they begin repairing the traps and mines together. During this process, they spot a drone emerging from the misty depths of the gorge and flying away. As the months pass, from December into February, they continue to communicate, exchanging messages via binoculars and letters. They even play chess, despite the complex logistics involved. On February 14th, Levi notices Dra failing to perform her usual chores. As night falls, he sees her crying. Sensing her distress, he offers silent support. This moment of vulnerability sparks something in Levi, pushing him to take a leap of faith. He devises an elaborate plan, modifying a bazooka missile by removing its nuclear core and attaching a rope to create a makeshift grappling launcher. By the next day, he finalizes his contraption. They agree on a date, and Levi finally manages to fire the rope across the gorge, securing a connection. He slides across, reaching the East Tower for the first time. Their attraction is undeniable, but Dra orders him to wash up before they properly celebrate. It is here that Levi learns more about her unparalleled sniping abilities. The target she executed in the film's opening was an actual world record. Their conversation also reveals Levi's lingering trauma, a nightmare that replays his first kill, a memory he has never shared with anyone before Dra. Unlike him, she had her father as a confidant, while Levi bottled up his emotions, obsessed with achieving the perfect shot, a habit that has fueled his inner turmoil. The next morning, a mine detonates as a monster attempts to climb up, causing Levi to slip and fall into the gorge. Panicked, Dra grabs a parachute, an auto-ascender, and weapons before leaping in after him. They land in a surreal, almost dystopian landscape, an eerie, fog-filled dimension separate from reality. As they regroup, Dra saves Levi from being devoured by a giant carnivorous plant, but their journey through the unfamiliar terrain reveals something even more horrifying. The monstrous creatures attacking them are not just random beings. They are remnants of an old battalion. The movie continues with Levi and Drasa discovering that the mutated soldiers within the gorge are still alive, transformed by their environment. As they journey through the forest, they stumble upon an abandoned town where foliage and human remains have fused into grotesque beings trapped between life and death. Levi refers to them as the Hollow Men. They also learn that the devastation in this area was caused by a massive seismic earthquake. Seeking shelter in a church, they are attacked by monsters and realize that many former inhabitants had committed suicide by ingesting cyanide capsules. After blasting their way out of the church, they run to an abandoned barracks where they uncover the truth about the gorge. Inside, they find a laboratory still powered by propane and a film reel recorded during the final days of an experiment conducted at the end of World War II. This secret facility was established as a coalition between Eastern and Western nations to develop biochemical weapons parallel to atomic bomb tests in Los Alamos. However, when an 8.1 magnitude earthquake struck, the facility was compromised, releasing a biochemical toxin that mutated the people inside, merging plant, insect, and human DNA into monstrous beings. The film reveals that if exposure to the toxin lasted only a few hours, mutation could be prevented, but after 5 days, it became irreversible. Drasa finds a final sample of the contaminant hidden in a cupboard, suggesting recent experimentation. Meanwhile, Levi discovers modern electronics in an adjacent room, revealing a shocking truth. A private organization called Dark Lake has continued experiments in the gorge, using the mutants to study the contaminant's effects. Their ultimate goal is to reverse engineer the contaminant to create super soldiers. Levi also finds a failsafe protocol called Stray Dog, designed to trigger a nuclear missile that would destroy the gorge if its existence were exposed, unleashing a massive thermal blast. As they leave the barracks, the monsters ambush them. Drasa is dragged away to a missile silo by a monstrous, zombie-like creature on horseback. When she awakens, she is tortured, but fights back using torches to burn the creature. Levi tracks and kills the monster, realizing it was the former guard of the Western Tower, mutated by the gorge's toxins. The two then find an armory with old wartime jeeps equipped with powerful winches, which they plan to use for their escape. Driving toward the last known location of the zipline, they attempt to attach it to the jeep's winch, planning to pull themselves out. However, the creatures attack as Drasa drives while Levi fends them off with gunfire. In a final desperate move, they ignite a propane tank, causing an explosion that takes out the monsters while they cling to the eastern wall for survival. Recovering from the ordeal, Levi and Drasa agree that the gorge must be destroyed. During Levi's radio check, he realizes that Bartholomew, his employer, is aware of their discoveries. She orders Levi to kill Drasa to maintain secrecy, but he deceives her. Knowing their time is limited, they rig explosives to the cloaker devices at the rim of the gorge. When Bartholomew and her Dark Lake representatives arrive, they find the area abandoned except for Levi's poem scrawled on a wall. At the perfect moment, Drasa and Levi fire shots that detonate the explosives, exposing the gorge and triggering Stray Dog. As they flee through the forest, they gauge the blast radius, trying to outrun the impending nuclear explosion. Bartholomew attempts to escape in a helicopter, but is caught in the blast and crashes into a mountainside. The plan was for Drasa and Levi to meet after the explosion, but things don't go as expected. Drasa escapes safely, but Levi is injured and thrown into a raging sea. Later, Drasa finds a letter in his jacket, instructing her to open it at sunset if he doesn't return. Heartbroken, she waits on a cliff, watching the sun dip below the horizon. When she finally reads Levi's letter, it contains a heartfelt poem, his final words to her, expressing emotions he had never spoken aloud. By April, Drasa is working as a kitchen staff member at a luxury hotel, trying to move on, though memories of the Gorge still haunt her. One day, she looks up and sees Levi standing there, alive, smiling as if nothing had separated them. As they embrace, the weight of the past finally lifts. They are free, ready to start a new life together, far away from the horrors of the Gorge. End of the movie. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments, like the video, and stay tuned for more recaps.